Sarah wiped the sweat from her brow, blinking against the harsh sunlight beating down on the outdoor firing range at Fort Hamilton, a modest military base tucked just outside a sleepy town in North Carolina. Rows of wooden targets swayed in the summer breeze, each one marked by previous rounds. Her job for the day was simple: replace worn-out paper targets with fresh ones. It was boring, repetitive work, but Sarah approached it with pride. Every task in the military, no matter how small, mattered to her. She moved quickly along the line, her boots crunching on gravel. Around her, other soldiers trained, some firing weapons, others practicing drills. From a distance, she could hear laughter and mocking remarks. A group of young male soldiers nearby watched her with smirks, tossing comments back and forth. "Watch out, Sarah. Don't cut yourself with that target stand," one joked. "Or maybe she's here to just sweep the range clean. Leave the shooting to the men," another added. Sarah forced a tight smile, her jaw set. She was used to the whispers and jabs. She knew the military wasn't always kind to women who dared step out of the shadows, but this had always motivated her instead of breaking her. She straightened a tilted target and ignored them. She had grown up in a small town, the daughter of a single father who worked at a local factory. From an early age, Sarah had learned self-reliance. When she joined the army, she had carried that same determination with her, though it sometimes made her a target of ridicule among colleagues who assumed she couldn't handle the rigors of military life. "Hey, the last time we let a woman handle rifles, it didn't end well," one of the young soldiers shouted across the range. Laughter erupted. Sarah's fingers tightened around the target stand. Her eyes flashed, but she took a slow breath, reminding herself that anger wasn't her ally here. Silence and precision were. She moved on to the next target, intentionally loud with the clinks and clatters of her work. It was then that she noticed a figure walking toward her. He was tall, built solidly, with a presence that immediately demanded respect. Navy SEAL insignia glinted faintly on his uniform. His eyes scanned the range, landing on her with an unreadable expression. "You're Sarah, right?" he asked, his voice calm but firm. "Yes, sir," she replied, wary. "How can I help you?" "I hear you've been replacing targets all morning. Why not take a shot for once?" Sarah blinked. The last thing she expected was someone like him to notice her. I don't really." He cut her off, holding out a rifle. "Here, take it. Show me what you've got." For a moment, Sarah froze. Her heart thumped in her chest, not because she lacked the skill, she had trained extensively, but because no one had ever offered her such trust so openly without mocking her. The men who had ridiculed her were watching now, their laughter replaced by stunned silence. She took the rifle, feeling its weight settle in her hands. The SEAL stepped back, nodding toward the first target. "Your turn." Her hands were steady. She focused, breathing deeply. One by one, the bullets hit their marks. Each shot rang with precision, echoing across the quiet range. The men nearby looked on, mouths agape, as Sarah methodically worked through the targets. When she finished, she lowered the rifle and met his gaze. He nodded approvingly, a faint smile on his lips. "Not bad," he said simply. Sarah felt a rush of something she hadn't experienced in a long time: validation. For once, someone had seen her skill rather than her gender. But the moment of triumph was interrupted. The same men who had mocked her before now whispered among themselves, their expressions sour. One of them, a sergeant's son named Tyler, stepped forward, attempting to belittle her achievement. "Just lucky, that's all," he sneered. Sarah's jaw tightened, but she didn't answer. She had learned early that anger could be weaponized against her in the wrong way. Instead, she finished replacing the last target, her movements deliberate, her head held high. After the session, she packed up her gear and started walking toward the base's parking lot. The SEAL followed quietly. "You handled yourself well," he said as they walked. "Not many people could stay calm under that kind of pressure and still hit their mark." "Thank you," she replied, hesitant. "I've had a lot of practice, even if nobody notices. Sometimes it takes someone outside your usual circle to notice, he said. He paused, scanning the area. Look, if you ever want to train properly, I can help. You've got potential. Sarah felt a strange mix of gratitude and disbelief. Nobody had ever offered to mentor her like this. I'd like that, she said softly. That evening, back in her small, modest apartment near the base, Sarah reflected on the day. She had always been underestimated, dismissed, and occasionally insulted. But today was different. Today, she had proven not just to them but to herself that she was capable, and she had caught the eye of someone who could help her grow in ways she hadn't imagined. Yet even as she drifted to sleep, the whispers and sneers from the range lingered. She knew the path ahead wouldn't be easy, but for the first time, she felt a spark of something powerful, a belief in her own strength, and a quiet determination to rise above the petty mockery that had followed her for so long. The next few weeks passed in a blur. Sarah met with the SEAL, whose name she learned was Captain James during lunch breaks and after duty hours, had seen her precision and discipline and decided to test it further. He introduced her to more advanced shooting techniques, tactical movements, and mental focus exercises. At first, Sarah felt the burn in her muscles and the strain in her mind. Was rigorous, relentless, but fair. Each day pushed her further, and each evening she returned home exhausted, her body aching but her spirit strangely lighter. She was learning things that made her feel alive in a way that target replacement never could. Meanwhile, the whispers around her at the base didn't stop. Tyler and a few others continued to mock her, this time more viciously. Rumors spread about her special treatment with. Some accused her of favoritism, others of incompetence that had somehow gone unnoticed until now. One afternoon, Tyler cornered her in the supply room, his face twisted with disdain. "Don't think you're special just because likes you," he sneered. "We know what's going on, you're just a fluke." Sarah's heart pounded, but she kept her voice calm. "I'm not here to impress you," she said firmly. "I'm here to do my job, and that's exactly what I'm going to do, better than anyone who doubts me." Tyler scoffed and walked away, muttering under his breath. But Sarah felt a flicker of satisfaction. She wasn't going to let him intimidate her. Weeks turned into months. Sarah's skill grew at an astonishing rate, pushed her to master every aspect of combat training, from precision shooting to strategy simulations. Each session was physically demanding and mentally exhausting, yet she thrived. With every passing day, her confidence strengthened, and the whispers of doubt began to lose their power. Then came the moment that would define her. The base announced a training competition, an opportunity for soldiers to test their skills in a simulated combat scenario. It was designed to highlight teamwork, precision, and leadership. Sarah signed up, despite knowing that Tyler and others would try to undermine her. She was determined to prove that she wasn't just skilled, but capable of leading. The day of the competition arrived. Soldiers lined up at the starting point, rifles slung, eyes focused. Sarah's heart raced, but she kept her breathing steady, gave her a small nod, a silent message of trust. The whistle blew, and the team sprinted toward their first objectives. Sarah moved with calculated precision, leading her team through simulated obstacles, taking careful shots at moving targets and coordinating strategies on the fly. At one point, a mechanical malfunction in a target caused a minor setback. While the others panicked, Sarah stayed calm. She improvised, adjusting her approach, and kept her team moving. The difference in leadership was palpable. By the end of the simulation, her team crossed the finish line first, their performance nearly flawless. The commanding officer approached her afterward, an older man with decades of experience etched into his face. "Sarah, that was exceptional. You handled pressure, strategy, and precision better than anyone else today. I'll be recommending you for recognition." For the first time, Sarah felt vindicated. All the months of relentless training, the insults, and the doubt had led to this moment. The sneers that once haunted her now seemed distant, replaced by the respect of those who had once dismissed her. That night back in her apartment, Sarah reflected on her journey. She realized that strength wasn't just about skill or physical ability. It was about resilience, determination, and the courage to rise above the noise of those who tried to diminish you. But her story wasn't finished. The respect she had earned came with its own burden. Tyler and a few others continued to scheme, unwilling to accept her rise. They tried to fabricate reports, blaming her for minor mishaps during training exercises, hoping to tarnish her reputation. Sarah felt the sting of injustice again, but this time she didn't flinch. She gathered evidence of their sabotage, meticulously documenting everything. She spoke to witnesses, compiled reports, and presented the truth to her commanding officers. The evidence was undeniable. Tyler and his accomplices were reprimanded, their attempts to discredit her backfiring spectacularly. Sarah had not only proven herself on the range, but had stood firm against injustice. She had learned that strength was not just in skill, but in courage, the courage to confront lies and fight for what was right. And through it all remained a steady presence, offering guidance and support, never taking credit for her victories, always letting her shine. Months passed. Sarah's reputation on the base transformed from being the target of ridicule to one of admiration. She had grown stronger, sharper, and more confident, but she never let pride cloud her judgment. She remembered the days when she was underestimated and used them as fuel to push further. One autumn morning, a new challenge arose. A local sheriff's department requested military assistance with a high-risk training exercise designed to simulate hostage rescues. The base volunteered a team, and Sarah was chosen as a key participant. Her expertise in precision shooting and tactical coordination now widely recognized. The exercise was intense. Smoke filled the air, alarms blared, and the stakes felt real. Sarah moved through the scenario with practiced skill, directing her team, neutralizing threats, and maintaining clarity under pressure. At a critical moment, one of the local officers panicked, freezing in a simulated doorway. Sarah didn't hesitate. She assessed the situation and took the shot herself, neutralizing the threat and saving her team from failure. As the exercise ended, the lead sheriff approached her. "Ma'am, you were incredible. I've never seen anyone handle that pressure so well. You should consider a permanent role here." Sarah nodded, a small smile tugging at her lips. It was validation she hadn't sought but deeply appreciated. But the final twist came unexpectedly. Who had always been her quiet mentor, revealed that he had recommended her for a special Navy program, one that would allow her to train with elite units and lead specialized operations. The opportunity was prestigious and rare. "You've earned this," he said simply. "Not because of me, but because of your strength, your resilience, and your integrity. Nobody else could have done it the way you have." Sarah felt a swell of pride and gratitude. Her journey from being mocked and underestimated to being recognized for her skill, courage, and character had come full circle. In a private moment, she returned to the old firing range. The targets swayed gently in the wind, the same one she had once replaced under the sneers of others. She picked up a rifle, took aim, and fired. Each shot hit its mark perfectly, a symbol of everything she had endured and overcome. This time there was no mockery, no doubt. Only silence, respect, and the undeniable proof of her strength. Sarah smiled. She had started her journey simply replacing targets on the range. Now she was a force to be reckoned with, respected, accomplished, and ready for whatever challenge came next. And in the quiet of the afternoon, she realized something powerful. The greatest victories often come from those who refuse to be underestimated.